Hey guys, it's Octavian here. In this video, we're going to go through the low poly shooter pack v6.0 project contents. Now, if you don't know what the pack is, you've never heard of the low poly shooter pack, that's fine. You're going to probably learn a lot about the pack in this video. So let's just jump straight in. This right here is our playground level. Now, we're not calling it that because your government built it, but just mostly because we built it to play on this ground. It showcases pretty much all the features in the asset, it contains all the mechanics, and you can just kind of play around. The most important thing that you should kind of consider is that this is the level that you basically start off in when you open the project. Now that we've checked out the actual playground, let's check out the guns, which is probably the thing you care most about. Look at this, we have so many of these. If you go to this usable weapons folder, you can see that we have like 50 of them. These are presets, not main guns, but it's still important. For example, check this one out. This is the SMG5 Tactical. It's kind of like a variant, beefed up version of our SMG5. Look at this. We put like some canted sights on it. It's got that cool camo. It's got everything. It looks really cool. Have a lot of these types of weapons. Let's just give this a try in game. Look at this. Let's make sure we also try out a few other weapons. For example, this is the Sniper 1 right here. That said, before we actually try this weapon out, let's do a bit of a cool thing. Let's go to class defaults. So let's open this up. Let's go to settings, and then inside here in override attachments, if we go to scope, we can actually change the scope to whatever we want. So let's pick scope 6, and then let's change the camo. Maybe let's change it to something like lava. Yeah. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty cool. Let's compile. And now let's give this weapon a try. This one's pretty cool as well. Just for reference while we try this, lava is just like a weird name that we came up with. We have a lot of weird names for skins. That's just a thing. But also really interesting here, you can pick any of these scopes and skins for any weapon in the asset. In fact, let's give that a little bit of a check here. I think that's quite interesting to see. Not gonna waste a lot of your time by showing you every single weapon, but you can apply it just like to those two. In fact, here's a bit of a demonstration that you can apply any skin and any attachment to any weapon. We're going to show that with one weapon, but this works for every single one of them. So, since I just showed you all the skins in gameplay, let's actually check them out in the folders too, because you might be able to see them better. If we just go to the skins materials folder, you can see that we have a lot of subfolders, like camo here. If we go in here, you're going to see that we have a lot of variant camo materials. Like, for example, let's just open up this one and see what we can do with it. This is what this camo looks like. And if you look at here, we can modify the brightness, intensity. We can modify kind of a lot of these other settings. It's pretty interesting stuff that we can do with it. Skins aren't only for weapons though. Check these out. We have tons of character skins too. Pretty much the same principles apply here too. We have a lot of them, pretty different ones, and you can modify a bunch of parameters. You can also assign them to any character that we might have in the asset, which I'll show you in a moment here. Now that we've looked at the skins, let's actually take a look at the animations too, because that's probably one of the things you care most about. So if we just go to the animations folder, which is pretty aptly named, you can see that we have a lot of sequences for pretty much everything. You can see we have base, common, ARs, handguns, launchers. There's dozens of sequences for every single one of these folders. You can see that we have a lot of like AR animations. And all these folders actually contain both animation sequences and animation montages, meaning they're already set up so you can just immediately use them both in the asset or your own project. However you want to use them, you can definitely use them. By the way, there's both first person and third person animations, so you won't miss a beat when you need to make a game. You've seen the animations, let's take a look at what these things actually work on. So the characters. So we have a few of these. So you can see right here we have a few. This is the normal character, the one we use for the AI, for the player's third-person view. We also use it for like just prop stuff. And this here is the cubic version. Now we call it the cubic version because it has these hands that we made like very long time ago that some of you requested us to still add. Naturally, we still have first-person arms for that. This is what we actually use in first-person view, and the same thing with the cubic ones. We still also include the UE4 mannequin in here. It does look a little bit weird because we put all of our camos on it. We UV'd it to work with our textures just for the fun of it. Now, I would actually like to take a little moment to take a look at the attachments for the weapons. We looked at them in game a little bit before, but I want to show you this models folder inside of the attachments. You can see we have lasers, flashlights, muzzles, rails. We have so many things. There's actually like 19 attachments total. There's like 8 scopes. Like, it's pretty crazy. And not only do we have these, but I want to also take a second to look at the textures folder right next to this. Now, inside of this folder specifically, you can see all the sights that you can use for the scopes. There's a crazy amount of these. We added so many of them. We made them. And there's like 10 or like more than that. Attachments isn't all we have here though. We still have a very interesting folder pretty close by, and that's the projectiles folder. Inside of here we have a bunch of grenades, the grenade launcher projectile, the rocket. You have like flash grenades, like this one for example. A lot of stuff that you can play around with here. A very similar folder is this casings folder, which basically contains all the kind of spent version of the bullets that we have in the asset. So also a pretty important folder. Moving on a little bit from the models, we can go to the audio folder in the asset. Now, we have so many audio clips. There's background music, we have a bunch of footstep sounds, we have explosion sounds, a lot of them, and then inside of the weapons folder, we have so many sounds. One for pretty much every single action that you could have for a weapon in the asset. Every animation has its own sound. That's how many we have. You check inside of the WAV folder, of course, we have the original sound files, so you can take these, export them, and modify them as much as you want. Now, if you're interested in reading through the blueprints in the asset, you can find those in the core folder. Let's go there. Inside of this folder, we have a lot of different subfolders containing blueprints for all the different parts of the project. For example, if we take a look at the characters folder, as you can see, we have the animation blueprints for both the first person and the third person character. You can see that we also have the main character blueprint here too, and some structs. Basically everything character related is here. If we go to the inventory folder, for example, we'll naturally find all the inventory blueprints. All of these blueprints have documentation as well, which you get access to upon purchasing the asset. Yet another very important folder in the project is the data folder. This is where you'll be going to modify most important settings. For example, let's say you wanted to modify the fire rate of a weapon. You would need to go over to the weapon settings data table, you would open that, then we locate the weapon we're trying to change the fire rate for, and we modify the fire rate value on the right. Easy as that. That's how it is with most settings in the pack. And for any other settings that aren't in the data folder, you'll probably be able to find them in the Useable Folder blueprints. This is where we put all the child blueprints, the ones that don't contain any functionality but are used in the project. For example, all the weapons are in this folder. It's better to change settings on these and not the core ones, that way you ensure that nothing important actually breaks. As you can see though, it's not only weapons, it's characters, props, everything is in here, all the usable stuff. And with that, we're actually pretty close to wrapping up the video, but we still have to go into the maps folder and take a look at that. So let's just quickly do that. Inside of this folder, you'll probably be able to see that we have quite a few maps, more than what you would have imagined. Actually, let's start by taking a look at this one. It's a bit of a more exotic one, maybe unexpected for you, perhaps. As you can see, it's kind of just like a short cinematic that you can watch. We included this one just in case you maybe wanted to use it for an intro or for an outro or for something cool for your game. some people have used it for that. There's actually games out there that use the low poly shooter pack that have it. So yeah, maybe you can find a really cool use for it. In any case, after that one, we have this defense map, which is kind of a Call of Duty Zombies inspired map. We kind of start you off with a shotgun and there's a bunch of targets. There's no real zombies in this map, but I mean, it kind of gives you that vibe, you know, we kind of went for. You can use all these props to make a larger map maybe, or any kind of game of any sort, pretty much. Now let's check out the next one, and in this case that's going to be Warzone. Now this has nothing to do with Call of Duty, so please take that out of your mind. We made this way before Call of Duty. It's just like a small simple map that kind of gives you like this vibe of I'm kind of in a war zone. In case maybe that one wasn't Warzone-y enough, we do still have this desert map, which is kind of like a cool sniper spot that you can shoot at some barrels and some houses from. All those houses explode and you can kind of go into third person and just shoot everything. One cool thing about this map, and I'm not really going to show it now because we don't have any barrels positioned for it, but you can destroy these watchtowers, and it kind of inspired the idea of making them destructible. So that was pretty cool. I guess moving on to the last map, which is not really like a level per se, is the main menu. We don't show this one very much, but yeah, we have a main menu. You can see it on the demo. It's got a play and options. We have a lot of options in here that you can kind of mess around with. We also have like this really cool level selection screen, which we kind of worked on quite a bit, and you can kind of test all the levels from here. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you buy the pack, and I'll see you in the next one.